Welcome, audience. Last time it was the troublesome/terrific 3, and now it's time for our actual Fantastic Four. Don't worry, though, you'll get to see the full Furious 5 for fans 4-stick. For now, we're handling the second/third worst films, starting with the 2005 film.
Directed by Tim Story.
You probably know this one better. Fantastic Four.
From 2005.
Yeah.
And sadly, though, the best was not the 1994 version, so it's kind of gonna go downhill from there.
I remember watching this film when I was younger.
The only good thing that came out of this movie was Chris Evans' career.
Probably.
Oh, goody. Oh, yeah, I have quite a few things to say about Chris Evans' character, but for now, let's get going.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, anywho, audience, basically start right as soon as the Marvel Comics logo, not Marvel Studios logo, Marvel Comics logo.
Because for some reason, on the version we're watching, the 20th Century Fox logo isn't here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay,
then.
Whatever.
So, assuming that you have your videos paused right at the start of the Marvel Comics logo, it's time for us to begin in 3, 2, 1... click. Or play if you're using a DVD remote.
Yeah.
It's ironic, the Marvel logos here started with Fantastic Four only comics.
Yeah.
20th Century Fox presents
A Constantine film and Marvel Enterprises Incorporated.
Wait, Constantine Film was involved in this?
Yep.
Yeah. And before...
Can someone fresh my mind?
They made Downfall. They made Downfall.
Yeah.
And the Resident Evil films.
And Tarzan, I believe.
Oh, yeah, and the 2014 Tarzan animated film.
I think they were also the same guys behind the 1994
I guess that you can say, too, that their career had a massive downfall.
Boo.
Okay, if I can give this movie some credit, the casting is actually pretty good for the most part.
Yeah, I like Michael Chiklis as Ben Grimm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Chris Evans actually does a fantastic job as Johnny Storm, despite not having a good script to work with. I think, at least. I mean, he fits the role that was given. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a shittily written role, but Chris Evans did the... Go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, I get that. It's like, okay, for those who saw our 1994 version of Fantastic Four commentary, you may recall how I bring up how I occasionally have issues with how Johnny Storm is portrayed. Well, fun fact, my very first time I had a real big problem with how Johnny Storm was portrayed is this little picture here. I'll delve into more why I really hate.
Oh, by the
Johnny
way,
Storm.
this is Dr. Doom he's talking about in his Whilst He Was Human.
And we got a Welsh guy playing Mr. Fantastic. His name
the director thought it was a good idea to make him in the shadows, to make look mysterious, like he's fucking Dr. Claw or something.
Guys,
come on, Tio, just because he builds a giant statue of himself outside.
He's called Victor Von Doom!
Yeah.
Okay, guys, serious question.
Go ahead.
The actor playing Mr. Fantastic, can any of you pronounce his name?
I don't really know who he is.
Iowan Grufford.
Hey, Dwibs, want to try pronouncing Welsh words again?
Well, the guy is a Welsh actor, so...
Well, he does come from the country with the most weirdly named country I've ever seen.
Oh boy. There we go. Okay, I have to say right now, the only actor, or should I say actress, I really don't like in this movie is Jessica Alba as Sue Storm, but...
Well, she's not a good actress.
Yeah.
It's not just for that. You'll see... You'll see later why am I really not a fan.
Well, gee, Tio, considering one of Jessica Alba's quote-unquote careers, I think you know what's going to happen.
I mean, see, here's the thing, Teo. This is an actress which the one highlight of her career is being the star of a James Cameron-created series.
And that series was?
New Angel. So something about Dark Angel. Sorry, not Dark Angel. Basically, she was a vigilante type character and shit.
After that, wasn't her main thing mainly bikini modeling?
Pretty much, yeah.
And yes,
Julian McMahon is Doctor
They
Doom.
transformed Victor Von Doom, one of the greatest comic book villains of all time, into a complete doofus that tags along the mission that may give the Fantastic Four their powers, just because he has a crush on Sue in order to give him some more rivalry with Reed Richards that wasn't absolutely needed at all.
But hey,
Well-
it's, actually, wait, hey, it's better here than the emo he was in Van Bolstick.
Well, tough luck, Dweebs. It still boggles me that Fox doesn't manage to get the character of Doctor Doom right. How can you make him so wrong? It's not hard to
And
make
it's,
it right.
Van Bolstick makes me sad because he was played by Toby Kebbell in that movie, and I like Toby Kebbell.
You know, Fox, when Roger Corman, from what I've heard, does better than you, okay, serious question. What is so infamous about Roger Corman? It's like, well, people are making out like, I can't believe that Roger Corman made the best Fantastic Four film. I mean, like, well, does he have some sort of, reputation or something that I don't know about?
Well,
does.
as I
Roger
mentioned,
Corman
he
is an
mostly
overall-
made monster movies.
Yeah.
Well, go on, Pedro, what were you saying about him?
Roger Corman has a reputation of just being one of those filmmakers who just makes, incredibly cheap and not good films and shit.
Huh. Well,
so
he
he's
must...
he's like the one-man canon films.
My God. Well, you know, Pedro, I mean, I wouldn't have known that from Fantastic Four. I guess Fantastic Four is the one film where he actually gave some effort, given the budget. I mean, yeah, $1 million.
Fantastic Four was a licensed movie of a Marvel property. Obviously, it was not going to be as cheap as his other films.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. So that's why people are so shocked that he pulled off the best.
Okay, I'm going to be honest here, guys. So far, okay, this is my first viewing in a while. This feels more like a pilot for a TV show than a movie.
Yeah, kinda does.
The lack of music, the
Oh, there it
closeness.
is. Oh, and there's John
Okay.
Stewart.
And there's Chris Evans.
Okay. Let me start with number one, why I really hate Johnny Storm in this movie.
He rides
Okay,
a motorcycle without a proper helmet.
That scene right there is pretty much his whole character. No, seriously, that's in the movie. Some
So
guy who
he's
will
Ghost
basically...
Rider, then.
No. I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about him making out with a woman while driving. It's his
He's,
number...
he's just a stereotypical ladies' man.
Well, it's actually worse than that. He is practically motivated by sexual advances. I mean, seriously. Like, up until the final climax, that's pretty much what he does. Just try to get every cute chick except for his sister. And it really grates me because...
Well, if that's any consolation, Jova, they spent an entire decade, even two, of comic between him, Johnny Storm, and Benjamin Green fighting over, what's the name? The blind girl.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the difference is that in the comics, at the very least, that was comics for you. I mean, that eventually blew over. But this is supposed to be the introduction of a new Johnny Storm, and as someone who actually read the comics of Fantastic Four, I can tell you, there is much more to Johnny than this. This is one of the most blatant flanderizations in film I've ever seen. But enough about him for now. You know what's ironic? Chris Evans, I love his Captain America, yet I don't really like his portrayal. Oh, hello, Jessica Alba.
Hi, boobies.
Yeah, seriously.
Anywho, as I was saying, something about the Thing and Jessica Alba's cleavage. I mean, Chris Evans is
Seriously, Jessica, but that's
Allow me, since I'm a married man. I'm already much to resist. Basically, Chris Evans obviously is a role that is shitly written. However, I do at least give credit that he does manage to try and make it somewhat fun, as long make it somewhat fun. As long as you don't think about the things that Jova said. If you turn off your brain and not think about how they're ruining the character, you can at least have some fun with Chris Evans acting, because he's at least trying.
Yeah, see, that's another one of the issues that this film has. It's like, well, the 1994 version, you could just turn your brain off and just enjoy what was going on, because...
the CGI is so dated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Pedro, that's actually a good point. I mean, now that you bring it up, yeah, one of the issues with this film is like, well, the 1994 version was actually a film that wanted you to turn its brain off, yet even if you didn't turn your brain off, you could still enjoy it because it got a lot of things right. This film, however, how should I put it? This is one of those complex films that you can't really turn your brain off for, though, because, like, well, you constantly have to pay attention and you have to read into a lot of the stuff, like the relationships between Ben Grimm and his wife, the new relationship he gets, the confrontation between Victor Von Doom and
Yeah,
Mr.
and here's my
Fantastic.
first. By the way, allow me to voice one of my major pet peeves with this movie. One of my first main problems with this movie, right, is in fact reading its own ugly head right now. We're not even 9 minutes into this movie, and already we're going into the journey and the shuttle that's gonna give them their powers. Uh, you wanna maybe slow down a bit, build some character, introduce us to who these people are,
It's funny.
because
Well, actually, then again,
Well, honestly, I don't find that of a big problem. In fact, in a superhero movie, the origin story should be dealt quickly as possible. In
honestly,
fact,
I
as-
disagree with that.
yeah, but Pedro,
for
they
example,
tried
for
to.
characters like Batman or Spider-Man, considering how many fucking times we've seen their origin story, people are begging that in their new movies, these will be done as flashbacks.
Actually,
Pedro, they tried to fix that with Fan Four Stick, and look what happened there.
Hold on.
Just because Josh Trank screwed the pooch, that doesn't mean it can't be done right.
Yeah,
The point is,
Pedro has a point.
The thing is, okay, here's the thing. Yes, Theo, when it comes to Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man, yes, I understand that. But the Fantastic Four are not as iconic as those three superheroes are. So it makes more sense to have to introduce who these people are. Because Superman and Batman is one thing. Everyone knows who Batman is and why he does the things he does. But the Fantastic Four not so much, especially with such shit movies that have been coming out of them. So it makes so I want them to actually give them an origin story that actually works and introduces these people instead of. And this movie should have been longer. It should have been at least 2 hours. So we could actually properly give, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not asking for the first hour to be just build up. Just introduce them, just take a bit, the first 20 minutes to explain to us briefly who these people are and why we should care of a shit. Because so far, I don't give a shit about any of these characters.
Tio and Dwibs, Pedro actually has a point, because, like, well, okay, Pedro, it's funny you mentioned that because the 1994 film actually got that. I mean, remember, Tio and Dibs, the 1994 one actually did spend at least 20 or so minutes actually helping us get to know the characters and actually seeing them interact well enough before the movie. And so we can actually buy the team dynamic. One thing people need to remember about the Fantastic Four is that in many ways, they're considered the family of comic books. It's like, well,
family.
Yeah, they were literally the first group of superheroes showing up on the Marvel multiverse.
So the team dynamic is literally imperative. If you don't get that right, the whole movie falls apart.
And ironically, it was the 1994 one that actually got that right.
Yeah, so far the character that has got more personality here is Victor Von Doom, and all in the wrong ways for some reason.
You see, Theo. Allow me to bring up another thing. See, the problem is that yes, people like us have read the comics, but this is supposed to be a movie first, and
people like me
after. It should work on its own. It should not only work for people who already know who these characters are.
Yeah. For example, let's look at the Avengers movie. That's a team movie that, had to have a lot of build-up to actually get it. Granted, that's sort of different from the Fantastic Four, but even still, Avengers needed a lot of development for us to actually start buying into the relationships. Fantastic Four, granted, you don't need a movie for each separate member, but you still need to dedicate enough time to actually, let us know the characters.
For example, right now...
In fact, that's one of the future problems with this movie is like, well...
Let's forget this... Okay, go ahead. Sorry, let me go finish.
That's actually one of the future problems with this movie. It's like, well, as soon as they get their powers, it's really just them doing random hijinks and they're barely on screen together. Oh yeah, speaking of which...
Time for how they get their powers.
Yeah. It's like, for example, let's pretend for a moment that we never read the comics.
I can do that.
Yeah. For example, what makes Reed special, or Sue for that matter?
He's smart. Except, what have we seen him do? Just going to ask Victor Von Doom for a grant for this huge experiment. I mean, heck, for all we know, he could be blind out dumb and just asking for money for an experiment.
And what reason does Sue Storm even have to be here aside from the fact that she has boobies?
Because Victor wants to,
I know, Theo, but remember, we're trying to pretend that we
No,
didn't
but I
see
mean
the
this
comics.
version of Victor. In the
Pedro.
comics, he never tried.
Pedro,
Yeah.
I can answer that. I can answer your
Mhm.
question, Pedro.
Go ahead.
More boobies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sue Storm is a kind
See,
of
look at this.
Sue Storm's a controversial case,
We're
but
not
yeah.
even 15 minutes into the movie yet, and we're already giving them superpowers. I mean, here's the thing. Allow me to quote one thing that I really agree that Confused Matthew said once in one of his superhero reviews. Like we should like the characters before they even get their powers. We should like them as people first. But
Yeah.
this is a movie where the heroes are literally defined just by their powers, not by who they are. You know, again, it's the main reason why I hate the way the Force was portrayed in the Star Wars prequels, because of the midichlorians, the Force is just random superpowers attached to random people. It's not based on who they are as people. So yeah, like why am I supposed to care?
Okay, so Ben Grimm wakes up. Let's see what they're going for.
This movie's 100 minutes long. And it feels so rushed. It should have been longer. I mean, come on. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, here's another problem I have with Chris Evans in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, he's a complete dick. I mean,
Yep.
seriously, this is the first time I've ever seen Johnny Storm as that much a dick. Seriously, he could be like a jock at times, but not a complete utter butthole.
I love how they're completely, ignoring what happened and just accept and just dealing with it like if they just stepped on their toe.
We got hit by cosmic rays. Whatever.
If I can give this movie one thing, though, I do like how they use the meteor thing as an explanation for why Reed has that white strand of hair at such a young age. I'll give it that one thing.
Again, I know you guys are gonna hate me for saying this, but I will. One thing I'll give Fan Forstic credit over this movie is that
I agree.
at least the accident did feel like it had consequences.
Yeah, I agree. I actually agree. And
What
I also hate. You know what? I also hate to say, but
Debs, them being horribly injured and shit. Whereas here they just immediately get over it like nothing happened. It's like this moment, which is supposed to be the big moment of their backstory,
but that
had no impact on them whatsoever.
Yeah, but
hi to Staff Osborne's house.
That got ruined by.
It did. Yes, it did.
By Miss Fantastic just sneaking off.
I think what
I
he's
know,
saying,
I know.
Gibbs, is like, well,
Good-
Fan
good.
Force Stick actually, I think he's saying that Fan Force Stick actually, acknowledge the consequences outside of just Ben Grimm.
Yeah, the thing is, yes, James, trust me, I fucking detest that. Like when I was in the theater, I was literally screaming "What?" when Reed ran away, because that's so against the character they've been establishing of him right from the beginning. But that's a topic for when we do that movie.
You know what else is also sad is the fact that Fan Force Stick actually, it actually did develop something of a team dynamic. The issue with that movie, though, is like, well, by the time they got their powers, almost everyone did a complete 180.
No,
character.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Libs on this one. I mean, honestly, the beginning of Fan Force didn't feel as rushed as the beginning of this movie.
The Fantastic Four weren't even together till like the very end.
Yeah, it still didn't feel. It still didn't feel coherent, and
I'm not talking about
they kept jumping around and shit.
I'm not talking about the team dynamic. I'm talking about them actually bonding before they got the powers thing. It's like, well, after that, everything got screwed to hell. I'm just saying, It's like, well, they actually did get to know each other well enough before they got their powers. That's all I'm saying. Which sort of makes it even worse in this because, at least the film is consistent with how dickish the characters are, yet in Fan Force Stick, they're nice. Well, okay, the boys are at least nice to each other, but then after that, oh god, well, let's talk about that when we actually get to that film. Anywho, let's actually talk about the characters here. Yeah,
I'll still say this. I'll still say this.
yeah.
I'll still take Von Doom in in this movie over the Fantastic one because the Fantastic one is the worst Doom ever.
No contest.
How can you fuck that up?
Well, to be fair too, they did it here too. They just did it worse in Fantastic.
I know.
It's because at least in here they actually, we actually do see Doom for like more than a minute.
minutes.
Not like that. Technically speaking, again, the best version of Doom is the Roger Corman one, and that one has voice problems.
Yeah. Okay.
Extreme snowboarding.
Okay. To bring our focus back to this movie, let's
Like
actually
in
talk
the
about the
90s
characters,
all over again.
since we sort of skimmed over that. Allow me to bring up another problem I have with Johnny Storm in this
I'm doing
movie.
extreme
Okay, you know
snowboarding.
why he's being brought for the spaceship program? Apparently, he was originally booted out of NASA for trying to bring in hookers or some strippers or something, and yet they're bringing him back to be the pilot just because Sue Storm wants him in charge, and she apparently doesn't trust Reed and Ben. As for...
Nepotism.
Nepotism.
As for
Whoa.
Reed, well, Reed
Very
is,
cool,
the usual dorky self who's...
Cool, wild, and radical.
Hey, here's another problem I have. Has the movie ever told us what was the point of his space experiment?
Using plants, I guess. That's what Ben was trying to do.
Fuck you. We need to get the Fantastic Four powers.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they do say something about plants, but oh my god, like my issue with Terminator Genesis, there's no real explanation of what the motivations for what's starting are.
Oh my god.
Weird. Fantastic actually did at least tell their motivations better, and I'm not trying not to compliment that movie. You are not Ghost Rider! Put out! Oh. Well, it was nice knowing you, Johnny. Hope you'll be done better in Fantastic. Never mind.
Oh no, never mind. Yeah.
I'll bring up my issues with that later.
Oh my
too.
god, this scene is so fucking stupid.
Thanks for the camera shot.
Hello, I'm naked.
Of course, because that's what you do when you just saw a man literally turn into a human torch, no pun intended. You strip off your clothes and join him in the hot tub that he himself is producing.
By accident, granted, but still. So in this movie, Doctor Doom is just a dorky
Just some guy.
businessman.
Just some guy.
By the way, I forgot. Do they actually give an explanation for why Ben isn't Rock yet?
Oh yeah.
I guess teasing.
Yeah.
No, I get the whole teasing scene that
I guess-
there.
I
but
guess-
Oh, I get it.
but is there an actual reason why he's not Rock
I guess.
There actually is a reason for that. It's like basically they say that like, well, it's slowly mutating their DNA.
Oh, okay.
Hence why
okay,
Johnny
okay,
just
sure.
was able to do all that.
Sure. Okay, fine. I'll roll with that. Why not?
I
It's
was going
not
to
a
say, I
big
think it was
deal,
a delayed
honestly,
reaction.
compared to all the rest
Yeah.
of the shit.
So,
Was it eventually that I'm evil?
Yeah.
yeah, that's another problem with this movie. I mean, I know comics aren't subtle to begin with, but yeah.
I'll bring up another thing that the 1994 version did better. You know what I mean? Like, well, granted, we all knew Victor was gonna be the villain, but I could actually at least see why Reed believed him to be a friend at the time. I mean, he actually put on something of a convincing enough performance when it came to actually interacting with Reed. Here, yeah. How has nobody been able to tell that he has a deep, insane infatuation with, Sue, or that he pretty much detests Reed Richards? And let's not forget that giant statue he built outside of his statue. Totally not evil.
So what? Hang on. Let me ask you. In this film, are Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm already dating?
No.
Not yet.
Oh yeah, no.
In fact, it's implied that Sue may or may not be having relationships with Doctor Doom, or he's just lusting after her. Oh yeah, yep. There you go. Yeah, she's currently going out with Victor, and yet she's having a dinner with Reed, with
Still
alcohol
better
involved.
what they did, despite to what they did in the Ultimate Universe. Jesus God.
Refresh my memory.
Remember, after Reed did the whole bullshit thing with the negative zone and became evil, Sue started a relationship with Ben, which in time he had become a purple person instead of his Rocky persona.
Well, I will give the Ultimate Universe this. Making Reed Richards the villain was actually quite possibly one of the best things they actually did do.
Okay, now she's turning invisible.
Yep.
Her powers are starting to.
I would look at you, Jessica Alba, but the effects are keeping me from.
And here's another bullshit thing. The invisibility powers were just on her skin instead of even with her clothes or something. I mean, I guess. Hold it. I mean, I guess you could tell this to do it in a more realistic way, but really, this is just a little excuse to have Jessica Alba stripping later on in the movie.
To be fair, there are some comics that actually have done the whole anything but her superhero costume will vanish. I mean, will not vanish.
Actually, so don't they explain later in the movie that the suits they're gonna wear, the blue ones, the ones they'll use as superheroes, actually, have some kind of connection with the-
It's like the Incredibles.
Explanation in the comics, but it's something that goes that jumps around. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, that's comic books for you. I mean, honestly, I think it's actually legit. Granted, yeah, they do use it for the obvious Jessica Alba thing, but as far as stuff goes, overall, it's legit.
Yeah, I like the way Chris is playing this part, this particular scene, because it works mostly because of his acting.
Yeah.
I mean, he's trying, but yeah.
That's one of the things that frustrates me about this role. I mean, he's doing a great performance, the best he could with a role like this, and yet I find myself hating him so much in this movie. It's like, well, I want to compliment him, but dear God, the character just pisses me off so much.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so glad Marvel saved his career by making him Captain America, because to me, he is the perfect Captain America. He's just.
Meantime, Michael Chiklis is going apeshit.
Yeah. He completely. Like, I cannot imagine another actor playing Captain America right now, because I just find him to be so perfect in that role.
Hopefully Ryan Reynolds will eventually get the same luck that Chris Evans did, because, oh boy, when it comes to superhero movies, Ryan Reynolds has poor luck. Oh yeah, I think I recall they make a dirty joke about Mr. Fantastic in this movie, or is it the other one?
Let me guess. He can. Do they?
No, they do that in the Ultimate Fantastic Four comics.
Isn't that
early
what?
Issues Ben goes like while Sue and Reed are kissing. Ben and Johnny are watching this, and then Ben goes like, "You think even its tongue can stretch or something?"
Isn't that what? Isn't that what? Aren't
the
Ultimate Comics or what Four Stick is based on?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I recall them definitely making that joke in one of the movies.
With, so.
Well, to be fair, the Ultimate Comics do have potential, as the Marvel movies are definitely a sign. It's like, well, the issue with Ultimate Marvel is like, well, they had good potential, and in some cases they actually did take off, like Ultimate Spider-Man. The issue, though, was like, well, oftentimes they went way too raunchy with it, and then Ultimatum came.
Yeah.
We don't like to talk about Ultimatum. Hey,
Victor.
Victor.
Are they on Earth again, or are they still on the space station?
No, they're on Earth, in Victor's private hospital. Hey, Vic, you might want to actually act concerned for Ben.
Or yourself, for that matter.
But Jova, he's evil. He doesn't give a shit about anyone but himself.
Again, 1994 version actually... Okay. Granted, in truth, he didn't care about them, but at least he acted like he did in front of them.
By the way, we're 28 minutes in, and I still have no reason to give a shit about anything or anyone.
Except for Ben.
You You know,
Oh no, honestly, Joe, but no, not even Ben, because what do we know about Ben exactly?
okay.
I'm not talking about that. I mean, like, well, the movie actually does give you reasons to actually care for Ben and his struggles.
Honestly, Joe, but the whole, oh, my wife doesn't like me anymore because she can handle that I'm Brock. Honestly, that just comes across as just, so heavy-handed and it's just so simple.
One thing
Well,
I
it's
should
not
mention.
just his wife, but sort of like how he can't stand looking so different.
But that's just like, but that's so, like, like, you can write that in a coma. I mean,
I
come
know,
on,
I
that's
know.
not-
Oh, I know. It's cliche as all heck, but honestly, it's one of the better executed plot points of this movie.
Okay,
doesn't make it good by any
one
stretch of the
thing-
imagination.
Oh, I would
know
not
what?
say that it's good compared to a lot of stuff. I'm just saying it's one of the better things of this movie. That's it.
You know one thing. You know one thing about this movie.
What?
What?
It's funny because Fantastic Four and X-Men films are both done by Fox.
Yeah.
Except there we have Bryan Singer making sure things go for the most part.
It's just one thing this has in common with X-Men. It's got John Ottman as a composer for this film.
Yeah.
I guess the music.
And the sequel.
I love John Ottman, so I'm glad at least.
Which is weird. If he got John Ottman composing, couldn't you just got him to do the editing work as well? Because he's also an editor.
Yeah.
Honestly, I consider this one of his weaker soundtracks. I mean,
well, to be fair, what's he got to work with here?
True.
Yeah.
And yes, now we're going to try and do an Incredible Hulk thing.
Well, then again, hold on.
From there, they're probably going to do the dun dun dun.
To be honest, I like this design for the thing.
Yeah, it works fine.
Yeah. Oh no, my Ben isn't handsome anymore. I hate you.
Honestly,
how shallow.
Yeah.
What a whore.
Oh yeah.
Well, to be fair, Dwayne, it's gonna be kind of painful to have sex with him from now on. So
yeah, but even
but
so,
don't you know, Pedro? The thing doesn't.
No,
I should not say this.
If Van Forstick isn't if to go by, apparently he does indeed have a dick.
Your husband has gone through trauma, and you're rejecting him just because he looks different.
Well,
that's racist.
I could understand maybe I could understand being scared, but
honestly, I think he's better off without her if she's like that.
Oh, I agree. It's like, well, it's like I can understand if
that's why that's just the thing, Dwayne. That's why he'll get a blind girlfriend, a woman who values the character rather than how she looks, because she can't even look at him.
Wait, does that happen in this movie?
Yeah.
Granted. To be fair, I believe in the comics, he originally the blind girl was, his original girlfriend. In fact, I don't think the comics had the whole.
No, not really, Jova. The blind girl, I can't remember. Alicia Masters, I think. Yeah, she comes later, and as I mentioned, she's the daughter of a B-tier villain.
Oh, I get that. What I'm saying is like, well, I'm pretty sure that he didn't have the whole wife shenanigans in the comics.
No, he didn't have a wife, but he didn't also have Alicia at the start.
I know. What I mean is that Alicia was his first love. Anywho, so yeah, this scene in the movie. Basically, the Thing tries to console someone who wants to commit suicide by saying, hey, your problems are bad, but mine are even worse.
Like, that'll make him feel any better.
By the way, people, pay attention to this scene, because this may be one of the very few scenes that you actually see some actual superhero. No, not that, but actual heroic stuff done.
Yeah, and by heroics they mean basically crashing a lot of cars together, causing potential death of people because some cars
causing traffic chaos.
Yeah, not this heroic stuff, but what they actually do later.
Oh, how convenient! All the rest of the Fantastic Four just happen to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, by the way, speaking about the Thing and his appearance stuff being done wrong, yeah, just gonna say, X-Men does that way better.
With who?
With the whole, oh, my appearance is different, or I'm mutated and all this stuff.
That's because it's X-Men #1 thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, well, here's what I don't get. Fox, you have people who are doing the X-Men films. Why not consult some of them on how to handle the Thing?
Jover, they did. They got Simon Kinberg to co-write Fantastic
No.
and produce it.
I'm talking about for
Well,
this
to be
film.
fair-
I'm
well,
talking
to
about
be
for this
fa-
film, Dwibs.
Well, to be fair, Dwebs. Well, I don't think Simon Kinberg
Oh,
was.
here we go. Oh, Jesus, this thing is so
Was
stupid.
Simon Kinberg involved with the very first X-Men movie?
He was involved with X-Men 3.
Wait, oh my
Was
god.
X-Men 3 already out by this point?
No. This came out a year before.
Oh, okay.
Huh. I
that
can't believe
case,
there's
it
actually a
wouldn't-
universe where people would actually look away from a Jessica Alba stripping.
Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, for all its faults, this is actually one of the better scenes in the movie.
well,
I'll get more into
let's
that
not forget.
No,
Well, there's-
sorry. I cannot excuse the ridiculization of the Invisible Woman's power into into porn stuff.
So what are you
Yeah.
going to say, Pedro?
Well, to be fair, too, we can't really have Jessica. That's really all that Jessica Alba is good for.
That's my main problem with Jessica Alba as Sue Storm.
Yeah, I know.
the sad thing is that I still
especially
like...
considering Sue Storm has been one of the most controversial female characters in the whole Marvel multiverse, and only recently started to have some fucking dignity.
Hey,
And then
Tio.
this fucking movie came out and completely thought, fuck that.
Hey, Tio, how much you want to bet that when they cast Jessica Alba, they were expecting that they would make enough sequels to get to the point where Sue Storm turns evil?
In order to make her the Malice persona or something.
Yeah, you remember her Malice costume? How much you want to bet that's what they had in mind?
Terribly so, especially in the Infinite War.
So, yeah, what was the point of her being invisible if they all got across just fine?
Eating She-Hulk and being a BDSM mistress.
Yes. No, well, Debs, but like I was saying, Debs, we have to remember that even though Simon Kinberg did indeed co-write that, we have to remember that it's already pretty much proven that Fox completely butt-fucked the script, and a lot of stuff that they wanted to do didn't make it in.
So, yeah, we actually see the Fantastic Four actually using their powers.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to take the blame off the writers. I'm just saying that it's clear that
The studio didn't help.
it's clear that Josh and Simon couldn't get the movie they wanted to make on screen.
It probably doesn't help about the stuff with Josh Trank, locking himself in his trailer, isolating himself from everyone, basically trying to write
Josh
it all
Trank-
himself.
well,
I mean,
that's
for all we
another-
know,
that's
Simon
another
Kinberg
thing.
might not even have gotten that much a chance to help.
Yeah, the main reason for that is that Josh Trank is known for as a guy who's just a really pain to work with. He managed to make Chronicle, which was very good, but the thing about Chronicle is that it was one of those things where he got lucky, basically. Like, eventually everything fell into place. He didn't get lucky with Fantastic, though. So yeah.
Anywho, back to this movie. Yeah,
This scene
Jessica
gets
Alba.
so worse and worse the more it goes on.
Jessica Alba stripping aside, this is technically one of the better scenes in the movie, and it's made that for a reason that I'll bring up when it's done. But I'll give you a hint. What's one thing that you expect in a superhero movie aside from seeing the superheroes get their powers?
Superheroes to
people.
actually save people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doing heroic things.
The
Well,
green screen looks like shit.
well,
But
guess
here they're not doing heroic thing, they're just fixing the mistakes they made.
and you know what's even worse? After this, we have to wait till the final climax for them to actually do something involving saving people or acting heroic.
Like,
Yeah.
not even Spider-Man could have caused this much trouble in one go.
I mean, okay, audience, let me give you an example. We're 37 minutes in. The final climax is, near the end of this movie. And yet, in between all that, we're just going to have to look at goofy slice of life hijinks and Ben Grimm angsting.
And of course, they still want to arrest him because fuck you.
But he just saved
Marvel.
everyone.
Well, it is the Marvel
Well, fuck you,
Universe.
Glibs. Yeah, we are in the Marvel Universe. We must be that kind of prick.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. By the way, people cheering for them while on the bridge saying, "No, don't arrest him, he's one of us." Gee, Spider-Man much?
Oh, and she bursts through the crowd to see him
Okay.
who just saved everyone, only to, right in front of him, take off her wedding ring and put it down right in front of his face, despite the fact that he just proved himself a freaking hero.
Okay, I'll be honest. The first time I saw this movie, I was expecting that, it would actually be a sign of her actually coming to accept him. But no, the movie did the exact opposite of, what a competent writer would do.
She doesn't want to see him because he's ugly and she didn't love him. Fuck you, you slut.
Okay, let me bring up a problem with this. It's like, well, okay, it's one thing for her to be afraid of him, thinking that he might be a monster because of the mutation, but she just saw him actually do some good, ignoring the fact that he sort of caused some of it, but she actually saw him do good, receive praise for it, and yet her reaction is to, screw him, and just leave.
He's ugly.
Without
Also,
anything
I love
such as
the
a
fact
word.
that the thing in pure comic tradition is only...
About this film, honestly. The fact that Ben's supposedly loving wife is nothing more than someone who just goes by looks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Never mind his personality or anything. Nope, just the looks and the fact that he's a big ugly rock. Now, fuck him.
I mean, seriously, we don't even get to know her. I mean, that's pretty much all we know about her character. She's obsessed with looks.
All I know is she's a bitch.
If this were an X-Men film, we'd actually get to see both sides of the argument and why the person hates someone who looks like that so much.
Isn't that the point of the X-Men, to have two opposing sides?
Well, dude, what I'm saying is, when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it, the thing kind of is pretty much like the X-Men is, basically, he's the one who angsts about his powers the most, sort of like the X-Men thing. It's like, I'm not saying he's exactly like the X-Men, but they share quite a few similarities to the point where, just try and pull a bit of an X-Men and they're sort of the thing for you.
We should just, you know what, too?
Yeah.
We should just make a Mysterion movie.
That would probably be better than this one.
So, a Mysteron movie?
Basically, Dwibs, there's a trilogy. Hold on.
Oh,
Hold on.
I think that Stan Lee cameo is about to come.
Yeah, it is. All right. Unfortunately, I don't have anybody here because usually when I go see a Marvel movie, I always love to take my brother or some friends with me so we can all high five when. And I mean, come on, Stan Lee is a god. So,
and yet he didn't even show up for that other movie.
Oh my god, I was so disappointed with that too. I mean, how can you have?
And it's even more disappointing considering when a couple of weeks before the release of the movie, he said he actually liked what he saw of the movie.
That's Stan Lee, though, for you. I mean, honestly, Stan Lee. To be fair to you,
Stan Lee was a writer. Stan Lee was a writer back in the 1940s. We had to 50s. Yeah,
50s, 40s,
That's
50s.
Golden/Silver Age, I know.
Yeah. But so he comes from a time when storytelling was much primitive, more primitive. So he's not really a good one to judge good writing by today's standards. It's just not that kind of. He's from an older time. So let's give him a break on that regard.
Not to mention, Tio, Stan Lee is a guy who may say one thing, but honestly, you could obviously tell he's thinking something else. For example, when One More Day came out,
he cannot just flat out say that the movie sucked because he's kind of executive producer of it. So
yeah.
I actually have a pretty good example.
So is this the bit where Doctor Doom loses his board thing?
Yeah, hold on.
And you basically let me give you.
I'm sorry.
Copy
I'm sorry, Joe. I have to do it. You can't do this to me. I built this company. You know how much I sacrificed?
Wow, okay, how many Spider-Man ripoffs are there?
Pedro, I'll do it. I started this company. You know how much I sacrificed?
Okay, what time are you guys at my video lag?
Not over the top enough, dude.
42, 40, 41, 42.
Yeah,
okay, I'll go ahead to 44 minutes.
Sure, in that case, you're going to have to wait a full minute.
And there's Chris Evans looking like a complete doofus.
Allow me, Dwibs.
3 minutes.
Yeah, no, 44 minutes. Anyway, allow me, Dwibs. But you can't do this to me. Do you know how much I sacrificed this company? Do you know how much I sacrificed for it?
We're about to get the Stan Lee cameo, if I remember correctly.
Okay, that was funny.
Well, it's Stan Lee.
All right, I'll admit that was funny.
Don't do drugs.
Oh,
There we go.
right.
There you go.
There he is, I'm guessing.
Yeah, yes. Hold on, we can't see him because you're paused, but basically you've missed a Stanley cameo.
It's okay, I've seen this movie plenty enough times, I remember. The
Stanley
mailman.
giving the post to his character.
Mm-hmm. Okay, hold on.
44
wait.
minutes.
I actually do like this joke coming up as well, actually.
Let's just cue Java in first, though.
In 3, 2,
2,
1, go.
Alright.
I do like that joke. I like this joke.
Exceed maximum weight.
Oh.
Okay, that was somewhat more funny.
I agree, Michael. This movie is one of those movies that's overall mediocre, but has those many tiny bursts of actual goodness, which sort of insults you with how much potential is wasted. But yeah, going back to what I was saying about Stan Lee, for example, when One More Day came out, he actually openly praised that comic, saying that it was a bold move. Yet, not too long after that, in his comic, basically, he still writes the newspaper strips for Spider-Man. Basically, in his comic, he himself retconned the events of One More Day and made it all a bad, horrible dream that no one should have thought up of.
Mm-hmm.
But did that happen recently?
No.
One More Day was in 2006.
Yeah.
2007,
No. I meant the
should
whole
we say.
retcon thing.
In the newspaper. He's talking about in the newspaper
No, it
strip.
was just a what-if scenario. Sadly, the events have not been completely retconned yet.
No, T. I was talking about the newspaper comic book strip. Basically, Stan Lee made it that the events happening after One More Day and One More Day itself were all just a bad dream in that continuity.
Yeah, I know. I will stand to dweebs.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think Stan Lee really liked One More Day.
Well, of course, it goes back to the whole thing. It's not just in films. Like in the entertainment, it's how the entertainment industry works.
Yep.
If you're involved with something at all, you're just not allowed to flat out openly say that you don't like the movie you're involved or work or comic or whatever you're involved in, because not if you want to get more work.
Okay,
Yep,
Pedro.
that's the PR game for you.
Okay, Pedro. Actually, I was looking through the internet and Stan Lee made a quip about why he thought Fantastic wasn't that good a movie.
Oh, gee,
there you
that
go,
didn't
see?
take long.
There you go. See.
He quipped. That's because I didn't have a cameo in it.
Oh,
Well, that was
Of
one of the
course.
reasons.
Yeah, it was just a little quip.
trust me, Dwebs. Like that's what people do. I mean, Harrison Ford himself also knows that Indiana Jones 4 sucked.
Goody.
And I can tell because there was an actual interview with him and Shia LaBeouf saying, and Shia LaBeouf kind of let it slip that he knows that the movie sucked, and he even kind of started talking about something that about Harrison Ford also talking about it and stuff like that.
Oh, wait,
and
hold on,
Harrison
hold
Ford
on,
kind
hold on.
of
Hold on,
quietly told him
Pedro.
to shut up.
Hold on, Pedro. This scene is coming up. Yeah, ready for some more subtlety with a fresh bun of good writing? Well, sorry, not here. Yeah,
What good films came out in 2005?
Hold
around this
on,
time that I
hold
can
on.
find?
Hold on, dudes. Let's actually pay attention to this scene.
I actually do have an example of that, but I cannot say it because it's controversial.
What the?
My god, that was so unsubtle, yet so robotic, and so bland acting, all rolled up into one shoddy performance.
Let me guess, you're not a fan of Julie McMahon.
Well, I don't really know much about him. I mean, and honestly, I will admit he's not the worst thing about this movie, but, well, like I said, he's basically a mixture of blandness, yet unsubtlety.
Don't hurt!
I hate lifts.
I mean, he's quite possibly the most boring of the Doctor Dooms. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Fantastic one is the worst, but this one's quite possibly the most boring one. I mean, I hate to say it, but at least with Fantastic, I can at least be amazed with how
one
awful.
is even around long enough to become boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, for as bad as the Fantastic one was, I could at least be amazed with how bad he was. And yeah, like Pedro said, he wasn't even in most of the movie.
Okay, guys, answer me this. Is it? They say in the film that Johnny Storm's temperature is as hot as the sun. How come Earth hasn't
Well,
They
actually do address that in the movie.
a very short range.
Yep.
Actually, the way it works, Dwibs, is that it's only that when he does the supernova move. Basically, the supernova move is him literally condensing all of his as high temperature as he can into one target, which is what he does at the end. And that's how they defeat Doom. Basically, he can kind of control how hot he is. Not yet, but he's gonna have full control eventually of how hot he can get.
Now let's see if you can buy
how
what
high he can get, what, in terms of his heat, or what drugs he was on when he accepted to be in this movie.
Both.
Now, Dwibs. Now, Dwibs, you remember how in the 1994 when there was this whole doctor scene where we were sort of seeing their abilities? Yeah, let's see if you could actually buy half of the stuff that they try to convince you concerning their powers. I mean, even for a superhero movie.
Does he? I've forgotten. Does he say "flame on" in this film?
Yeah, he does.
Right.
You are not Iron Man. Get down. And yeah, another thing I hate about another thing I hate about Johnny Storm in this movie, he's a pyromaniac. No, seriously, he's a pyromaniac.
There you go. See, that's basically the temperature of the sun thing is only when he goes full power, basically.
Right.
Got it. Supernova, bad.
Yeah.
Not that he
It's-
really acts
it's-
like it for most of
okay.
the film.
Supernova's bad. It's a really long attack that takes a long time to execute.
I'm sorry, could you just bend over there? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That yes.
Okay. Yeah. Basically, I wonder what other actresses they had in mind before they decided, yeah, Jessica Alba.
No idea.
I mean, I'll give Van Forstic credit.
There's also the
Kate Mara was fine.
Now, Van Forstic I do know. Apparently Josh Trank wanted the woman who's playing Harley Quinn in the DC Cinematic Universe to play Sue Storm. And apparently he took out a lot of his frustration with not getting her cast on Kate Mara,
Okay.
the actual Invisible Woman.
Why?
yeah
Because
Josh Trank is an asshole.
because he really wanted... Shoot, I can't remember. What's her name who's
that's-
playing Harley Quinn to be Sue
Can't
Storm?
remember.
See, the thing about Josh Trank to us is that he's a talented filmmaker. The problem is that he's incredibly hard to work with, and he's just an asshole in general.
That's the kind of filmmaker I really despise. Whether you're talented
yeah.
or not, be
Oh,
an
no, look-
asshole.
Don't worry, trust me. I'm pretty sure all of us agree with you.
Margot Robbie.
Don't wor-
Trevor.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure all of us agree with you, Dwibs. Nobody likes an asshole. I mean, it's the same.
I've
this
heard I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard even Stanley Kubrick was a bit of a dick sometimes in his movies.
You know the whole 127 time
No,
thing.
well,
Stanley Kubrick wasn't a dick. He was very
it was-
eccentric, though, is more the
Yeah,
phrase.
it's not so much dick. It was mostly just the whole dick thing was mostly just only with Shelley Duvall most of the part.
Wait, hold on. Let's listen to what they say about Doctor Doom in this movie. So, yeah.
Okay,
So basically, he's apparently... Oh.
hang on. Let me listen.
You do? I don't know. I don't know anything about you. Like,
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up one issue I have with Doctor Doom after this scene is done. Gee, she's strangling him. He's gonna throw him over. Now, I know I'm probably reading too much into this, but, well, I'll wait till the scene's over and I'll tell you one issue I have with this movie. Well, another one.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Have the suspect that Victor Van Doom may be the villain.
It's not just that. Okay, you know what? When you look at a lot of the scenes in this movie and how the villain acts, this movie feels sort of like a poor man's Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1. I mean, seriously. I mean, let's look at it down to the ground. How many similarities have we seen between Victor Von Doom and Norman Osborn in Spider-Man 1? You know, they're both heads of a company, they both have a psychotic outburst, they go insane, grab their assistants by the wrist, throw them into the wall. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. However, there's the whole company thing. Oh yeah, and he also tries to profit off of the eventual superhero, just like Green Goblin did. And aside from that, there's also the similarities between the superheroes in Spider-Man and Spider-Man 1. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but am I the only one seeing this as trying to rip off of what was at the time considered one of the better live-action superhero movies at the time?
Honestly. Yeah.
So did you hear the joke he said? You look like an 80s rock band.
Who is she working for?
Oh my god. Yeah, I know. We are in the Marvel universe. The citizens are that fucktards, but still.
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing about that, Wibs. The one that has the most fame for being the one who got it hardest with Stanley Kubrick was Shelley Duvall, but even her talks good about him in the Life in Pictures documentary. So also Malcolm McDowell also says, "I loved him 1 minute. The next minute I wanted to strangle him." But basically, Stanley Kubrick wasn't so much. It's not that he's an asshole. He was just a hard person to work with because of the weird way he behaves. You know.
Josh Trank, on the other hand, well, we'll talk more about him, but here's the short version. He was a complete dick to everyone. I mean, there's no argument. It got so bad that the studios took matters into their own hands, rewrote the entire script, and made a completely different movie, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a shame too because
I think there was a reason why he got removed from directing that Star Wars spin-off.
But we'll talk more about that when we get to
probably because Disney realized it was a mistake to hire.
And also Simon Kinberg was involved in both Star Wars and Fantastic Four, so maybe he had a say in it.
Yeah. Anywho, let's not delve too much into Fantastic, even though we sort of. Sorry, folks. It's just that movie's impossible not to talk about.
It's fresh in our minds. The film's barely a month old by the time of this recording.
Part of the reason why we're doing.
You don't know yet.
Wow, really, Johnny? Really? Okay, this guy pretty much has his life ruined in many regards, and you feel, oh yeah, there we go, more pranking on the guy.
Also, really, a montage in a 2005 movie.
Okay.
Remember, we're trying to capture that 60s feel.
That's so quirky, them living together. This totally builds up the team dynamic, doesn't it? By the way, that joke is so dated, what you're doing with the cream face pie.
Hey, at least Mr. Fantastic can get the closest shave ever.
Okay, I will give this film something else. It does remember that Mr. Fantastic is quite possibly the silliest of all four. I mean, seriously. He's a guy that can stretch and do all that. But then
Doom.
But the problem is, in later films, I think maybe the sequel, but also Fantastic, they try to make Reed Richards completely serious. I'm sorry. Reed Richards, the guy who can stretch and, do all that wacky stuff. And they expect us to take him seriously.
Oh, and here's another thing where they screw up Doctor Doom.
How does he become slowly metallicized?
It's just his movie. In the comics, if I recall, he just builds up a suit of armor. And that's it. But his powers are mostly techno-magic. Things that he studied because he was of royal blood or something. He doesn't just becomes magnetic, electric or something.
By the way, stop me if you heard this before, but his bones are turning into some really strong steel.
Yes.
I'm surprised you didn't catch on, most of all.
That's the thing, Jova. It's not, what you see, Jova, it's not normal steel. It's special steel that works like bones.
Exactly. I'm surprised Rich didn't catch on to the reference.
What film were you referencing?
Wolverine.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah, but that was different.
And here's
Wolverine-
another thing from Spider-Man. Now the fired
Wait,
director
did
of the
Ball take over?
Yeah, but Joe, but that's different.
I know.
Wolverine underwent a process. He just went through it randomly.
Well, Dwibs, that's what I'm saying. It's like, well, it's such a Wolverine ripoff when Doctor Doom was not even like that in the comics. It's like,
Brutality.
it's like, well, okay, if he were like that in the comics, I'd understand. But I'm sorry. I mean, seriously, this sort of goes into my theory that they're riffing off of what was popular at the time. Granted, Spider-Man more so, but that Wolverine analogy, I mean, how many heroes have you heard of that have special metallic bones?
Anyway, so they're building what
A
exactly?
machine that on theory they can
Replicate the storm to
make
turn
them
them normal.
human. Yeah.
Wouldn't
Getting
it-
is funny because he can hit things.
Wouldn't it make it worse?
Wait,
Well,
what do you
apparently,
mean
Dwibs, the
make it
plan
worse?
is that another storm would turn them normal. Surely that's a wise move.
So they can they want to recreate the conditions of a storm in this scene too.
Yeah, I hate to say it, Ghost Rider is going to do what Johnny Storm does later better. Yeah, Nicolas Cage did it better, folks. I went there.
Okay, in 3.
Honestly, I would have loved if the Ghost Riders movie were
2.
canon in the Marvel
Oh.
Cinematic Universe and Nicolas Cage
Go.
reappeared in other Marvel movies.
That would be wonderful.
Oh,
Wow. It goes to my problem. He's a pyromaniac. He uses his powers so psychotically that I'm constantly scratching my head. How is this guy likable? In fact, what's keeping the usual Marvel citizens from not treating him dickishly? Yeah, ironically, the guy who uses his powers the most dickishly is the one who gets the most praise out of them.
and yet poor Ben Grimm is honestly trying to be good. He gets disowned by his quote-unquote loving wife and hated by everybody,
Yeah.
all because of his appearance.
There's
Yep.
one thing I will give Rise of the Silver Surfer for this. I did get some sort of satisfaction out of seeing Johnny have to deal with the Thing stuff. Something new, not something that is jumping the shark needlessly.
Wah wah wah.
Wah, wah. Well done, you just exposed your powers. The man hasn't he done that already?
Yeah, and yet, and yet
We will not
nobody,
question how he's okay.
and yet nobody in the stadium knew about him being the Human Torch.
Yo,
I just find this movie for the most part just kind of boring, honestly, because again, like I said, it's an hour long. We're an hour in, and I still don't give a shit about anything or anyone because the movie refuses to give me a reason.
That's pretty much this movie in a nutshell. A boring piece of dreck that tries to be so serious and wants you to take it so seriously, yet when it comes to, actually the things that would help make it taken seriously, it fails or just refuses to show you.
Oh boy, here we go.
Hang on, let me hear it.
Ha 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 ha.
Yep, they went there. The Mr. Fantastic stretching his junk.
What the fucking hell.
Yeah, I
Thank
support you, man.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Cheers, yeah.
Product placement.
Oh, hey guys.
Xbox product placement. Oh god.
Hey guys. You know what's something that we love seeing in superhero movies? Superheroes being dicks to other superheroes or just fighting each other. That's what we want to see, right?
Considering the time, that was a thing even in the comics.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't change the fact that we were still sick of that at the time.
Oh boy.
Oh, like you can't even talk, Johnny.
Pepsi. Mountain Dew.
So be.
Ow.
Wow. Johnny, your foot is so far into your mouth it's gone into your lower intestine. So, Dwibs, got anything to say about how this scene's being executed? Because I feel if I do, oh, hi, Burger King.
Burger King.
Joe, what? Sorry, Joe, I'm getting distracted by the product placement.
Okay, so Dwibs.
Hey, Joe, Jova,
Yeah?
before you
Yeah,
go on.
it's just useless right now.
Did he
Dr.
actually
Jova.
reference Fred
Dwebs is
Flintstone?
extremely sensitive to product placement.
Okay, Jova, before you ask me, remember that scene in the first Spider-Man movie where it starts off the Unity Day Festival and like the very first shot was product placement literally everywhere? And you've been saying this is copying Spider-Man pretty much.
Yeah.
You found your next similarity. There you go. Anyway, what are you going to ask me?
So yeah, what do you think of how this movie carried out the scene of two superheroes fighting? You know what's even worse is that Johnny is literally the one who started it. I mean, what do you have? Do you have anything to say about that? Because I have quite a few things to say, but I want to give you a chance to speak because, oh boy, do I have quite a few to say.
The problem is that Johnny, on a certain point, he's right. The fact is, the Fantastic Four are not using their power. Only Johnny is trying to use them for something. The problem is, he's using them for shit.
There's not even any need to go on a long rant. I can sum up the problem really quickly. Terrible writing that made by a moron that has no idea how stories are told. There you go.
But
You know what's ironic? You know what's ironic, Pedro?
What?
The director's last name is Story,
Yeah.
and his stories aren't very good.
Well, did he write any of this?
I don't think he did. Hang on, let me check. Fantastic Four, 2005.
I will give the movie this one thing though. It does support Ben Grimm's case that, he's sort of a freak and if you pay attention to the background, you'll see a lot of people are actually giving him a side glance and everything.
Okay, the movie was written by Michael Franz and Mark Frost.
I don't know who they are.
I'll look up their Michael
boy,
Francis,
Doom's packing heat now.
Well, Michael Francis. Michael Francis passed away.
Hey,
Okay, he wrote the scripts for GoldenEye, Hulk, Punisher 2004, and Fantastic Four.
wow, I'm not surprised. Hey, Tio, remember when Dr. Doom...
Well, at least he had one good movie in his resume.
Jova?
Hey, Tio, remember when Dr. Doom was smart enough to create all of his stuff and didn't always have to steal blatant objects?
Doom had he didn't even create his stuff. He had a fucking nation he enslaved for creating his stuff.
Which they sort of do bring him up in the sequel, albeit horribly.
Yeah.
By the way, I love how they're doing the 80s cliche of the trench coat and the fedora hat.
That's clearly out of the Ninja Turtles movie.
Okay.
And here's Alicia Master, which looks nothing like her comic book counterpart.
Is she the blind one you were telling me about?
Yep. But in the comics, she's white, has short hair, and she's blonde.
Well, to be fair, Teo, that's not her. Well, to be fair, Teo, her look is the least of the problem.
And honestly, movies like Daredevil have shown that, despite different race, a great enough actor can pretty much, a great enough actor and a similar enough performance can. It can justify it in some cases.
Yeah,
I'll anticipate you on that, Joba, and I'll say to you right now: I will not tolerate this excuse for Michael B. Jordan as the Human Torch in.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
No, I agree with you. Anybody will disagree with that, Teo.
I agree with you on that, Teo. I agree with you on that, Teo. What I'm saying is, hold on. Let me finish first. In cases like this, or the Daredevil movie. In cases like this, the performances, and not to mention the fact that their characters weren't really centered around their race so much as with, say, Johnny Storm and Sue Storm. But in the case of this, the way they handle Alicia Masters is actually well enough, and honestly, it's not really that much a deviation from the character. Same with Same with shoot, I can't remember his name. The guy who played Kingpin in the Daredevil movie. I mean, heck, that was actually one of the
Michael Clark
Duncan.
Duncan.
yeah, that's right, Michael Clark Duncan. His performance was so great. I mean, and heck, I'll even give you
Yeah,
the
the
biggest
people of that
example:
way, yeah.
Nick J. Fury in
here's
the
his mask,
movies. And let's not forget Nick Fury in the movies. I mean, he's the living example of quite possibly race
Yeah.
change being done.
Technically,
Joe,
was based
but-
already on the
Yeah.
Jova.
part.
True.
My issue
I'm
with
not-
my issue with casting other ethnic groups as traditionally white characters, if it's as long as you're casting him because you think he portrays the character better, that's fine.
I agree.
My issue is if you're just doing it for the sake of it, which is why honestly I'm not. I wouldn't really be cool if Idris Elba gets cast as Bond just because he's black.
I agree. In fact, I sort of hated Michael B. Okay. Let me reiterate. Michael B. Jordan gave a great performance, but you know what I found ironic about him? Okay, they made it obvious from the start. They were trying to be, forward and with the times and, breaking barriers. Well, isn't it kind of ironic that they portrayed him as, the deadbeat son who sort of drops out of class? Yeah, portraying the one African American in the film as, the guy who flunks at everything and is trying to put his life back together. I mean, granted, maybe I'm reading too much into that, but why not have cast him as someone like maybe Mr. Fantastic? Someone who's actually smart or brainy as opposed to being the cool.
By the way,
dumb
can I
kid.
say something?
All right.
Sure.
Can I talk about how, unless you're talking about Cameron from House MD, I don't buy a chick like this to be a scientist, a nerd, and a
Yeah,
nerd.
just because he wears glasses doesn't make you qualified as an intelligent person.
Who played that character in House?
Jennifer Morrison.
I'll have to watch it because I don't really.
She's right now in I think the what's that TV show about Disney fairy tales?
Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, she's now in that show.
Oh, I
Did she
actually
play
like
there?
that show.
Anyway, but basically,
I find
just
that whatever.
basically,
Go ahead, Jacob.
just to give Jove and Theo a context of what I'm talking about, because this romance is stupid and doesn't really care. I don't really care about this.
Oh, what, Paige? You're telling me that you aren't feeling it with this scene? You're not feeling the ever so wonderful magic
The reason
of
this scene
Reed.
worked, the reason this type of scene worked in Dawn of the New World is because there was a build-up. Again, like I've said before in the Tales of topic in SSND, the Tales is at its best when it's building character, and then there's payoffs from that. But that's a topic for another time.
Yeah, I think I see
I
where
don't
you're
like that. I don't like this because this is stupid, and I have no reason to believe that these two are in love. They're just
see
in
where
love
you're-
because the screenwriter is telling them to be.
Well,
Anyway,
actually, Paige, they're only falling in love because, well, they're.
Wow.
Well,
I
because
know.
they're Reed and Sue.
There were a couple in the comics. I'm aware.
Exactly,
of that.
exactly.
I just don't.
I'm
think
agreeing
there's
with
no
you.
chemistry. There's movie-wise. There's no reason for them to get together.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this movie is one of those. You see, this is quite possibly one of the worst forms of superhero comic book movies. A movie that completely relies on you having read the comics.
Yeah, but going back to what I was saying, like just to give Joe Ventero some context of what I'm talking about. Here's one cool thing about one of the characters in House MD. She's probably about the same age as Jessica Alba has here, probably. And she's hot, she's beautiful, all that stuff. And her character is, of course, also a smart daughter. But here's the interesting thing about that character.
What's the character's name?
Oh,
Cameron.
wait, hold on. It's another one of those scenes.
Could you put it in text, Pedro?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Who wants to assist me in dissecting this scene?
Like Cameron Diaz.
Okay.
Okay, seriously, Grim. The man can work, but he can't.
He's not a miracle worker.
Yeah, well, unless it's the comic books. Urgh. He actually does have a point, Grim.
See, honestly, okay, allow me. fuck
Ben,
you.
may I remind you that you were the first one who encouraged the romance between you and Reed.
Not just that, not just what Teo said. What Teo said is also true. But here's the thing: I spent my whole life protecting you. Fuck you, movie. When the hell was that established in this movie? I don't remember that ever been established in this movie.
Mr. Fantastic has a point. If you do it without making sure it's right, you could make it worse.
Not to mention the fact, Grim, that you were the one who was quite possibly the most enthusiastic about the experiment. Yeah, I hate to say it, but Fan Forstick had more of a reason because Ben was, just the guy brought along for the venture. He's the one who's the most enthusiastic about it.
I'll give Fan Forstick this. With Fan Forstick, it made sense for the whole "I've been protecting your lifestyle" shit, because he did indeed, because they've met as kids and they've been together since they were kids and stuff. So it made more sense there. In here, I've been protecting your life. What do you mean? I don't know anything about your backstory. Like, are they childhood friends here too? I don't know, because I haven't seen anything.
And like
don't tell, you stupid movie.
And like I said, if you remember that earlier scene, Reed was actually more hesitant about the whole space venture, yet Ben was the one who sort of...
Johnny. There's the catchphrase.
Yeah, although it's still better than where he got his catchphrase in Fan Forstick. The trucking.
That's not safe.
No, I'm not going to spoil it for the audience. We've spoke enough about that movie, and if we go into it's clobbering time frame in that one, I may just break down. The real world.
You're the guy who's been teasing, who's been being a dick to Ben Grimm for almost the whole movie, and you're giving up on the whole shit.
Yeah. It's weird. Johnny acts like...
My God, it's like this movie was written by a retard who can't even think properly.
Hey, guys, aren't the Fantastic Four such a great team? Aren't they getting along with each other? Okay.
I know there's supposed to be conflict sometimes, but this is the wrong way to go about it.
Okay.
Yeah, like everybody in this movie is an asshole.
Yeah, okay. Let's compare this to Avengers. In Avengers, it made sense that the heroes would be, it made sense that the heroes would be at extreme odds with each other because, we had movies to, show that they really were just getting to know each other in the Avengers. So it made sense that there was conflict and they grew out of it. But the Fantastic Four are different. The Fantastic Four are supposed to be a family. It's like, okay, there can be arguments and stuff. But the arguments in this movie go beyond just usual family arguments. These are like the kinds like, I'm going to divorce with you kind of arguments. And that's not what makes a good family, let alone a good Fantastic Four. I'm going to say what a lot of people have said. Brad Bird made a better Incredibles movie.
Do you mean a better Fantastic Four movie?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, a better Fantastic Four movie. Oh,
by the way, David, speaking of Brad Bird, those Iron Giant rescreenings? Do you live near one of them?
Where are they playing? I'm not quite certain.
I'll check. Not that I'm not interested in this movie.
Uncanny Valley.
Gee, maybe Reed was initially right about there being a need to test for stuff that might go wrong. Oh yeah, and by the way, him mutating, yeah, it gets completely forgotten a few minutes from now. He'll be just fine later.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, that always confused me. It's like, okay, he's mutating now, but then the next scene, he's just fine.
But yeah, just to give this scene. Ugh.
Yep. Really? Okay, yeah, BS. No way would Reed just leave the room to Victor like that.
Okay, basically, Joe, there's this new cut of the film called the Signature Edition, and they're showing it on one-off screenings across the US on September 30th and October 4th.
All right, show me the locations in that text.
That's the problem. I'm trying to find it.
Wait, which movie are you talking about?
Iron Giant.
So apparently they made a recut of it.
Wait, a recut of it?
Signature edition.
Was Brad Bird involved in making that signature
He
edition?
retweeted the announcement on his Twitter, so I'm going to assume he had something to do with it.
If he had to do with the original movie, you mean? Let's see.
The original movie was already a brilliant film. Why do we need an?
I think from what I've heard, they're only adding like a couple of scenes here and there.
So, I get it. I get what he's doing. He's gonna try and pull a Terminator 2, like, maybe
guess.
fill in the gaps. I mean, hey, Terminator 2 did show that, you can make an even better cut of an already fantastic movie.
Well, Joe, but there's a big difference, though. The director's cut of Terminator 2 was literally made a year after the movie originally came out, because it came out on theaters, actually, believe it or not.
Okay, Jova, just put in your location on this site, and you should get it.
Yeah, basically, Jova, Terminator 2 was such a humongous financial success that the production company. Okay, fine. You know what? Just for the sake of us being able to release that movie in theaters again, make your director's cut that you wanted to make. So there you go. Whereas this is literally just him going back to a movie. He hasn't how many years has it been now?
1999.
Oh, I see what they're doing.
Almost 20 years.
Oh, I see what they're doing. Apparently
And here's Michael Chiklis back to his normal form.
Yeah. Anywho. Okay, Pedro. Apparently what they're doing is they're going to feature completed versions of 2 of the cut and abandoned scenes from the movie. So apparently we'll get 2 complete scenes that were cut.
Mm-hmm.
So technically they're not adding anything new. They're just. It
has a special video intro from Brad Bird. Okay, in that case,
Really, the actual movie's gonna have that. This could be interesting.
I'm surprised. I mean, considering some people's attitude towards directors who have one flop.
Oh God! Here it comes.
I'm pretty sure people don't not gonna hate on Brad Bird just because of Tomorrowland.
I thought that's shallow.
And honestly, Tomorrowland's only really bad in the last third of it. I mean,
here's another thing, by the way.
Joe, don't tell me anything. I'll find out for myself when I get the Blu-ray.
Wait. Hold on. I thought you had seen Tomorrowland.
No, I haven't.
No, he hasn't.
Okay.
I mean, I was going to, but the bad word of mouth put me off.
I've seen it. It's not really that bad. Anywho. So yeah, time for another Spider-Man analogy. Yeah, okay. So basically, Victor Von Doom uses the machine to enhance himself. Gee, just like Norman Osborn with the performance enhancers. Ah! Where's Sam Raimi with a lawsuit when you need him?
Honestly, at this point, why not just watch the better one? I'm not exactly a fan. Well, actually, no. I kind of am a fan of the first Raimi film. In fact, here's a controversial statement. I actually like the first Raimi film better than the second one. I know, heresy, but yeah.
Whoa.
Ooh. Since when was Doctor Doom Emperor Palpatine or Darth Sidious or whatever you want to call it?
To be fair.
And as I mentioned, in the comics, he gets these powers by technomagic stuff he learned from books. So.
Hey, doesn't this remind you of the 1994 version where Dr. Doom was hanging on for life? Okay, okay. I should probably get this out of the way. Fun fact, a lot of the people who worked on the 1994 film actually had a hand in this movie. So it's theorized that was actually a cute cutaway reference to the 1994 version. Granted, I did argue semantics, but whatever. This movie needs all it can get.
Oh, well, I thought the microphone was on the picture.
I wonder if that's actually what happened, but they had to CG in the hand.
Oh no! Now I can't look at myself.
And now, young Richards, you will
die.
Yeah. Here's another.
Here's Doctor Doom's signature face mask. To be fair, this is fine. This version is fine of the Doctor Doom face.
And I will give it this, as shallow as it is. This actually is reminiscent of why he made the face mask in the.
Oh, now you care.
In the original comics.
Well, this is out of nowhere. He's been teasing him all throughout the movie, and now all of a sudden he gives a shit.
Yeah, I mean, do we even get to see why he came back? You know, isn't there usually supposed to be a part
It's
where we
just here
see
for
them?
some reason.
He just comes back because the script wills it.
Yeah, it's like we're missing a scene or two here.
Granted. I think there was a scene that showed both Sue and Johnny noticing what was going on in the. Oh yeah, you're right, Emperor Palpatine.
Well, hey, this film and Star Wars were both done by 20th Century Fox, so
But yeah. As I was saying, it's like, well, I do recall
I was frozen today.
there being one scene that had Sue and Johnny both noticing the weird things going on at the top of the building, but that's it. Yeah. I'm sorry. I mean, seriously, I have reason to believe that Reed is a doctor, but what have we seen you do that's worthy of a doctorate, Mr. Doom?
he got it from
Hey, look, he got a super scope.
Yeah, that's and he has super scope.
Jova.
Yeah.
Jova, I can tell you where he got his doctorate from.
Where?
He got his doctorate from the University of Script.
Why didn't he just walk outside
Actually,
instead of
here's an
blowing up
interesting
his
thing.
own
Might
window?
as well get my argument about Susan Storm out of the way.
Jessica Halbert isn't convincing in the slightest.
No shit. But yeah, like I was saying, like here's an interesting thing that even devs can come.
My God, Johnny's actually doing something that's selfless and actually caring about someone else?
Bullshit. You haven't earned this.
Sorry, Paige, what were you gonna say?
Like devs can confirm for me. Here's an interesting thing. Here's why Dr. House hired the hot 24-year-old Cameron fresh out of college, because she looks good. And now you're thinking, oh, what a sex pig. But here's the thing. That's not the whole story. He hired her because she looks good, and he got curious because she looks so beautiful that she didn't need to work her ass off to get where she is, and yet she did somehow. So he got curious about it, and he thought, oh yeah, she really must be a great doctor if she worked so hard to become a doctor, even though she didn't need to, because she could have just become a model and have an easy life. So there you go. That's how you put. That's how you make a female scientist slash nerd
And
slash
now
doctor.
this film came out. This film came out a year after House.
Mm-hmm. Well, 2 years at. Well, actually, no, 1 year. Actually, you're right.
Yeah,
You're
House
right.
was 2004, and this was
Yeah.
2005.
Heat Seeker.
You know one thing that's sad?
What?
The fire effects in this movie are better than the fire effects in Fantastic.
Yeah. Honestly, some of the CGI in Fantastic looks like 90s CGI.
I mean, I can understand. Mr. Fantastic in Fantastic looking a bit rubbery because, well, that's the point. But everything else, no.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, heck, I dare say there was actually one certain special effect in Fantastic I actually thought was done better in the 1994 version.
I thought you were going to mention the face one. Okay.
You know that scene where they were on that weird planet?
Yeah.
The slime that was coming out of the ground honestly reminded me of Food Fight.
Yeah, you
Honestly,
know what's...
it reminded me of Nickelodeon Gak.
Call me Doom. My last name.
Fuck off, Doom.
And by fight, I mean push you with my force powers.
Fantastic Four, welcome to your doom.
Welcome to die.
But yeah,
No, that's the thing. Yes, it would fit because it's a Marvel one, Teo. But remember, he's called Doom, so obviously the Altered Beast line is the most appropriate here. Welcome to Doom.
Okay.
Welcome to your doom.
You know, normally I think I'm reading too much into it, but screw it. I'm gonna point out that his mask reminds me a lot about the Green Goblin mask in the Sam Raimi films.
Let the hate flow
through you. I love you, McDermott.
Who doesn't?
And yes, Ben Grimm was completely stupid, so he could get his power back.
To me, Ian McDermott is actually the highlight of Revenge of the Sith.
Goody. Now it's time for actually one of the better fight scenes in the movie. Hey, we're actually seeing superhero work be done. And when it was only last seen since 37 minutes, and we're 88 minutes in, this is totally okay.
Sure. So yeah, Ben made himself rock again for the sake of saving his friends, even though it makes no sense.
How
Because
did he do that?
he
He
put
used
himself
the
in the machine again.
machine. He used the machine.
Off
Yeah,
camera. I hate off camera stuff.
we did
Yeah.
technically see the machine flashing off in the distance,
Just
but
do it
yeah.
for like just 3 seconds or something. You have to show
Who was that guy?
someone.
I guess it's a famous actor
Just-
because they were
just-
making him do a cameo
Just
like
show
that.
it for 3 seconds. Off camera just comes off as lazy.
Well,
It's like
Dwibs,
that
let's
guy-
not forget what happens when someone follows that advice like the Coen brothers, where they show you every single minor detail
Okay,
of
that's-
every
that's the-
single action.
That's the opposite extreme. Yeah, but again, that could have been better if it just cut.
I remember from that commentary, one of the best moments of that commentary for me was when you went to get a chocolate bar, and you were like, no, Dwibs, he's gonna unscrew the screws, he's gonna count the money. You have to see all of this. This is important to the
Yeah.
plot.
Do I have to? Yeah.
Did we just went through garbage
Dun, 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 dun. For a moment there, that reminded me of that scene in E.T. where
Jeez, Victor, are you so
yeah,
des-
sure,
Task-
guns will work with this metal skin.
Jeez, Victor, are you so Oh yeah, this brings me back. Okay, look. I would buy it if it was just simply
By the
the
way,
bones being metal, but just like Wolverine, apparently his bones being metal now makes him impervious to damage.
by the way, do we know what Victor's motivation is for even doing all of this?
His company dropped him and stuff.
He's
Okay.
Norman Osborn in Spider-Man 1.
Still makes more sense than the motivation of in Fantastic.
Basically, Pedro, just think Norman Osborn in Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, we'll go with that. Why not? Still better than Fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
Also, did they just rip off Matrix Revolutions? that looked a lot like the
Yeah, they're
beginning
in
of
the city. I'm surprised it isn't raining. Oh yeah, I love. Okay. One thing I'll give credit for is that he doesn't turn his attention to the guy behind him trying to distract him. He just tries to kill the person right in front of him.
Now that actually is part of a Doctor Doom I know.
And how Johnny managed to
What, not
escape
get-
the water
what,
is
Not
by
get
anyone's guess.
distracted.
I think they
Trying to
actually do explain that Johnny is apparently was able to control his powers enough to shield himself from the explosion. That's apparently their explanation.
So Jova, by one thing you think that you recognise as Doctor Doom, you mean he doesn't get distracted and actually tries to carry out what he wanted to do in the first place?
Yep.
Yeah.
See, Doctor Doom is like the super arrogant, yet also super.
From Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Where's Hans Zimmer?
Hey,
Hey, look at that, guys! Doctor Doom's actually using his abilities, and not ignoring them all of a sudden like a certain other movie.
Come on, guys. Maybe this is what we were meant to do. We didn't want this, but this is maybe what we were meant. Okay, Supernova. So, wait a minute. You told them Supernova was bad, but now you're asking for Supernova.
Apparently, they're going to contain it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sue contains it. I forgot.
Yeah, when have we ever seen Sue make a force field this big before?
Yeah.
When she tried to contain like one of the thing on the bridge.
No, this big.
Okay,
Yeah.
not this big.
Okay, a little bit of one-on-one.
Yeah, see, I hate that line because flame on. Oh, so now all of a sudden you like Johnny?
Yeah. Hey, also gonna bring this up. Brad Bird actually touched on this. You remember how Violet actually tried to do a force field this big, but it
actually
turned out she
forgot.
actually couldn't?
I actually forgot how rushed the final battle is. Wow, I get it's not without precedent. I mean, I haven't seen this movie in a long time, but now that I've seen it again,
Oh,
yeah,
look, Doom's naked.
This final battle feels almost as rushed as the
Yeah,
as the
guys,
Fantastic
what makes
one.
when you combine ice and fire?
I wonder.
Is this actually scientifically
Simple tale. We get
accurate?
water.
Yes, Drips. This
Boiling
is scientifically accurate. Fire that's incredibly cooled is turned into cement. However, Doom wasn't even on fire, so it doesn't make sense.
No, Joe, but you don't understand. If we combine fire with ice, we get water, boiling water, and then evaporation.
Okay. Here's my issue with this. Okay, you're trying to use fire to, make him into a... Shoot, what's the word? Oh, yeah, a
statue.
Yeah, a statue.
melting it.
But here's the issue. Doom wasn't even really on fire that much, so
It was
honestly...
just very, very, very hot.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that shouldn't have worked. He would need to be actually actively on fire for that to work. This movie fails at science, and science is one of the leading themes of Fantastic Four.
Joe, but you're expecting Tim's story to...
But here's the thing, though. Fantastic Four is heavily centered around science. Even in the comics, they actually get a lot of things scientifically correct. Yet, yeah, that's another problem I have with this movie. It is scientifically incompetent.
And he's the frozen statue forever.
I wish.
Until the climax of
Pop
Silver
song.
Surfer.
Yo.
We
Thank
are
you,
the
Fantastic
future until 2015.
Oh, hi, Alicia.
And yeah, now Ben Grimm and Alicia are an item.
Oh, by the way, I saw a topic, but it's quick. By the way, there's one thing you'll probably like is that in episode 7 of season 1, Hugh Laurie actually contributes to the score at the end.
Oh, look, they made sneakers big enough for the thing.
How does he do that?
He plays a piano. He plays a piano tune, basically.
Oh, wow. Hey, Sue. That's a nice outfit that reveals your navel.
Yeah. Jesus.
Because that's what you would see a brain... Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to say that that's probably a stereotype. However, her character has suggested that she wouldn't want to dress so scantily, because she hates having to strip down.
I hate to think what would have happened if they chose Namor instead of Doctor Doom as the first villain of this movie. Because every time Namor appeared in the old Fantastic Four comics, Sue always got the worst personality ever.
Yeah.
Well, in Fantastic, they fixed that by giving her no personality.
I know. And these days, the Namor rights are pending because Marvel doesn't even almost have them anymore or something.
Tio,
Seriously,
Tio, at the risk of pissing you off, I actually think that this Sue Storm is better than the Sue Storm in Fan 4 stick.
Okay.
Well, tough luck, Joe. No shit, Joe. It's not that hard.
Guys, serious question. Pedro asked me a similar question to this yesterday. Can you name me a character trait of Sue Storm in the 2015 film?
Yep.
Oh, I know. She tries to follow.
No, I mean, yeah. I've asked it. Not that I can think of one.
She tries to follow the rules, and she tries to be the good little girl. That's it.
Honestly, I can think of a character trait by Sue in this movie. What character traits does she have aside from looking hot?
Well, she's vastly shy in this movie, and she's brainy and smart.
Well, the film's trying to portray her as such, but
it's like for all the faults that she has in this movie, at least I can actually get a character from this movie for her.
By the way, we're still in New York because
it's bad when Jessica Alba can get across a character better than
boy, here we go.
Well, Jessica Alba actually has had some good acting experience. She can be a good actor.
Yeah, this doesn't matter because the sequel doesn't involve Victor Von Doom, so whatever.
Well, actually, he is in the sequel. Yeah. Don't you remember that?
Right, he is?
Yeah, he actually.
I never actually saw the sequel because.
Me neither.
So and since it's called Rise of the Silver Surfer, I kind of assumed that it had nothing to do with Doom.
Oh, you'll see what they do with Doom. I mean, hey, like we said, they actually try doing the Doom with the Latveria thing in the sequel.
Let me guess, his parents
he's being taken care of by top men.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Pedro, they actually tried doing that.
Now he's being carted off to
Latveria. Yeah, you're taking him back to his own homeworld. I'm sure that can't possibly go wrong.
So that was the 2005 Fantastic Four movie. Oh,
Christy,
Can
Christ, Jesus
Can I
Christ.
go first?
Oh, Stanley and
Go
Jack
ahead,
Kirby.
Ribs.
Poor Jack Kirby is rolling in his grave.
Okay,
All
can I
right.
go first? My final thoughts.
Oh, Aviarod, screw you. All
Hi,
right.
Kevin Feige. Chris Columbus.
Mark Radcliffe.
Well, Chris Columbus pretty much gave up making good movies after the second Harry Potter film, anyway. So.
Okay. Anyway, my final thoughts. Okay, this movie was really not as good as I remember it back when I was a young child.
Yeah,
shit.
that's how I feel.
Yeah, that's the issue with most of these movies. With most of these movies I've been watching with you guys, actually. Okay, I honestly can't even remember the plot of this film.
There is no plot. Like, what plot is there?
Eoin Gruff, whatever. Basically, issues with the movie. I don't like the characters. Oh, even the characters, even the one character I did like, Ben Grimm. He kind of went cuckoo back near the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The villain is about as non-threatening as they come.
Still better than the T5, T5 3000.
Pedro, I'll just say this. Watch the 1994 one if you actually want a good Doom for movies.
Yeah, but
sake.
Pedro, even then, even on his own quote-unquote merits, he's still pretty unintimidating.
And it doesn't help that we have the vastly better 1994 version.
The effects are
Terrible.
fine for the most part. The Human Torch looks fine. I understand why Mr. Fantastic is a bit rubbery because, well, his
anatomy, as Johnny put it, is.
yeah. But yeah, the cast, except Jessica Alba and Julian McMahon, the cast are fine.
I mean,
aside from those two, the cast isn't the issue here. I think the writings and Tim Story's weird direction is the problem.
heck, I'll even go farther to say that Jessica Alba actually did the best she could with what she was given. I mean, granted, we know what she was going to be used for, but she can be a good actress when given the right circumstances.
Yeah, she was okay in Dark Angel.
She's better in stuff. She's better in stuff like Sin City and all that.
She could have worked in this role, but of
She didn't.
course. Yeah.
Well, she didn't. So there you go. So yeah, overall, well, I'll say it's better than Fan Four Stick on the count of the film at least tries to have fun. Because
True.
I've heard one thing people like about the Fantastic Four is that they're very fun and entertaining to watch. They're the more light-hearted lot of the Marvel series. So I'll give them credit for trying to be fun.
I will agree that this is I'm sorry, I'll talk about it more in my final thoughts.
But overall, nah.
But by the way, this song is misfitting. There was little to no heroing done.
Yeah.
I hate it because I actually like this song, and I feel that this should be used for an actually good Fantastic Four movie.
And hearing that Rise of the Silver Surfer is worse than this, oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's on a whole completely different level.
But okay, who's next?
I'll go next.
And I need to go to the toilet anyway. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, I mean, like Dwibs, I liked this film enough as a kid, but coming back, and actually having seen the superior 1994 version, whoo, does this movie... Well, I'll give this movie this. For a setup movie, it is just slightly above mediocre. I have so many problems with it, but honestly, it was a fair enough setup. No, but where it really gets screwed up is Rise of the Silver Surfer. But the problems I have with this. Let's start at my biggest problem. This movie is a ripoff of Spider-Man, Raimi's Spider-Man 1. No, seriously, the aesthetics, the motivations, the writing, the characters, the villain. I'm sorry, I mean, surely you can see where I'm coming from when I'm saying that I honestly think that this is trying to rip off of Sam Raimi. And also to a lesser extent X-Men, considering how they made Doom basically Wolverine with the whole metallic bones that make him more resistant to damage. But that out of the way, yeah, Chris Evans is wasted as Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm is insane, a dick, a pyromaniac, and yet he's the one who actually uses his power the most. He's the closest thing to a superhero for quite a good portion of the movie. And Ben Grimm, well, Ben Grimm is, I think Ben Grimm is the best character in this movie. That doesn't stop him from having a lot of dumb moments and scenes still. And, yeah, Jessica Alba could have worked, but nope. They used her for all the wrong ways. Mr. Fantastic, I guess, is the most harmless of how... I'd say Mr. Fantastic is the most harmless, but in that case, the least influential. I mean, honestly, I did like how they pull a few quirky gags with Mr. Fantastic, but he's kind of just there. I mean, he doesn't really give off that much a leadership presence as he did in like the 1994
doesn't give off any
version.
personality whatsoever.
Yeah, it's
how much of that were you talking about? This is fantastic.
Yeah, Michael, that's kind of the worst thing you could do since he's supposed to be the dang leader of the group.
How much would you blame that on Ian Griffith, or would you blame that more on the writing?
I blame it more on the writing.
Definitely.
I
don't think the actors are to blame for this.
Honestly, the only actor I would blame is the guy who plays Dr. Doom because, come on, there were some scenes that were handed to him on a silver platter, and he still did practically nothing with them. Yeah, whoever played Dr. Doom... Yeah.
Julian McMahon.
Yeah, Julian McMahon, maybe you were good in some things, but... Nah, I'm sorry. You missed a lot of good opportunities to ham it up. I mean, yeah, that's one thing. You were better than Van Forstick, but even the Van Forstick Doom knew to ham it up, but that's for another day. It's so shallow. It's boring with, it's so boring with how little heroics are actually done, and when we actually do see them using their powers, for a good portion, they're actually at odds with each other. It's like, well, the one single time we actually see them working together and using their powers is just so they can burn and freeze Dr. Doom. That is literally the only scene with them working together. Let that sink in. Fantastic Four, the first family of comics. And in this movie, they only work together for maybe
punching the dude at the same time.
Yeah. So yeah, it's mediocre, it's shoddy, but it is just above mediocre enough to actually be its own thing and be the start of a universe. Now they could have built off its potential, but then we got Rise of the Silver Surfer. Basically, I wouldn't call this the worst movie, and honestly, it is. I do have a lot of fun making fun of this movie.
It was before Van Forstick.
Yeah, it was. It's like, well, this is a movie that I can actually have fun coming back to, if just to rip it a new one. But yeah, if you can't turn your brains off of this, I deeply apologize. You're in for not a good ride.
So,
okay.
Who's next?
Me.
Go ahead, Pedro.
Okay, I'll get the quick stuff out of the way. I personally don't really like the special effects in general, but I guess for the time it's fine. The acting is, like to have said, fine for the most part. And the score by John Ottman is, honestly, I could barely even hear it. But
I agree. Oh, again, Pedro, you'll love the soundtrack in the 1994 one because
I'm a fan. No, I'm a fan of John Ottman. Actually, here's an interesting thing. My favorite score of his is actually the Astro Boy 2009 score, because that score is actually pretty fantastic.
Oh, I agree. He's a great composer, but the problem is, like, well, as far as Fantastic Four movies go, this movie is such a lacking soundtrack. It's
sure. I agree.
Whereas the 1994 version has a bombastic, over-the-top soundtrack.
But however, I'm not gonna give it anything else. This movie has one of the worst scripts of any movie ever made.
Yeah.
It's like this was like I said before. This feels like it was written by a retarded 5-year-old. there's the script, the structure, the story, the way it's put together, it makes no sense. Everything works in the like it's like they made a list of what like just do everything that should not be done when writing a story and flow it all into one film. It makes like characters being assholes for no reason, characters then stopping being assholes for no reason, actions that make no sense, actions that should happen but they don't happen. It's just terrible. The fact that they also don't build off anything. There's no plot. There's no characters to speak of. It's just the script is terrible. This movie is terrible. It's stupid. It's insulting. It's a piece of shit. Next.
And yet somehow they managed to top it, not once but twice.
Honestly, what can we add to what you guys said? Honestly, overall, I still stand on my points. I still like Michael Chiklis as Ben Grimm. Even the design of the thing, despite not being, super duper, I still kind of like it the way it is. Then again, though, we have these stupid moments of a movie where, for example, the whole sequence on the bridge, which is completely both insulting in the regards of what it is, a superhero, and to the character of Sue Storm, or other things like Johnny presenting the thing's puppet that goes, "It's clobbering time," just as for a twisting thumb.
And the wife. Fan base. And don't forget Ben Grimm's wife.
Yeah, the Ben Grimm's wife, racism. Come to think of it, there's a lot of racism, and Johnny Storms being a complete dick for like 2/3 of the movie, and not to mention the fact that there are a lot of scenes missing. Come to think of it, why there's no extended cut of this, because honestly, the movie could have only benefited from this.
Yeah.
And Doctor Doom, despite the design being good in the final part of the movie, is not convincing, he's too young, he's not that intimidating, his powers are just right the fuck out of nowhere. Just whatever. And I'm personally not a fan of the character of Reed Richards in general, so not even in this movie was convincing to me. Yeah. So there's that. But then again, as I mentioned to Pedro, I didn't have a problem with the origin story being shoved into the first 9 minutes.
Yeah, I know, but like I said, that's because you know what the origin story is. What about people? The people who haven't read comics also deserve to know.
Well, you know about me, Pedro. If it was to me, people who haven't read the comics should not watch the movie or should document themselves.
That's a pretty terrible attitude, to be honest.
I'm sorry, Theo, but that's just not fair at all. Films should stand on their own. Just because you're adapting some, the Professor Layton movie stands on its own. And other examples, the Ace Attorney movie stands on its own. For as much as I don't like it, it does stand on its own. Adaptations should not be made specifically for fans of the comic books. That's or at least not only for them. That's just not fair. They're movies, they're not comic books. If you want to read the comic books, read the comic books. I'm sorry, Theo, but I just cannot agree with that statement.
Heck, I know. Even the likes of the Super Mario Brothers movie stands on its own well enough because, at least they actually do reference the game in a bizarre fashion, yes, but still they give you the overall idea of a Mario game. Rescue the princess from the evil Dido things and Goombas and whatnot.
Well, that's a pretty simple concept.
Like I said before, it's fine with Superman and Batman and Spider-Man because those characters are so ingrained to popular culture that everybody knows who they are. But with Fantastic Four, that's not the same. So they kind of need that. But that's okay. We're done. Can we end this?
Yeah. Well, folks, tune in next time for when we commentate on Rise of the Silver Surfer.
And the incredible fart of Doom.
I haven't seen that movie, so that's gonna be fun.
Let me put it like this, Clips. Until
no,
Fan
it's
4.
Not. What are you talking about?
Eh?
Never mind. Can we just finish this, please?
Let me put it like this, Clips. Until Fan 4, Rise of the Silver Surfer was the worst. We'll see you next time, folks.